For almost 8 consecutive weeks, major market indexes have been in a slump. The Nasdaq, S&P 500, and Dow Jones continue to stumble in this highly volatile market. And right now, everyone is left with a question.
When will this nightmare end?
In addition to macroeconomic factors dragging the market down, the fear that we may be heading towards a recession is also greatly affecting market sentiments.
This is a nightmare.
Market analysts are saying that we haven't quite seen that bottom and that the market is still jammed with volatility. In an interview with CNBC, Sofi's head of investment strategy, Liz Young, said that we still have a couple of months to go to get through this volatility. If you're an investor who's itching to see the end of this volatility, watch until the end of this video to find out which market direction we are headed in the up and coming months, at least according to Sofi's head of investment strategy, Liz Young. Also, we'll go over what typically happens in the stock market before, during, and after a recession, according to data. Note, we are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice, so always do your own due diligence. It was 2 years ago when the S&P last entered the bear market territory. According to US News, a bear market exists if an index like the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones are down 20% or more from a recent high. Previously, the S&P 500 just plunged more than 20% last week. Another benchmark that the Nasdaq has long been in bear market territory is a recording of 29.3% below its recent peak on November 19th, while the Dow Jones is standing 15% below its recent high. By the way, ladies and gents, we're so close to 4,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, be sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you get any value from this video so far. Now, to answer the question,
when will it end?
Here's Sofi's head of investment strategy, Liz Young's take on the markets.
Maybe we're getting close to some type of bottom in terms of valuations, according to Barry Knapp. Technical analysts say that we could bounce from here, but maybe there's eventual lows at the end of the summer. Do you think we finally have a print of a bear market in the S&P and Dow, Liz?
I think that we need one in order to confirm that we've hit a bottom, but I'm still not going to search for a bottom in all of this. And unfortunately, I think that we still have a couple months to get through some of this volatility. What we saw yesterday was that we finally got some indications that the strongest links that we'd been depending on were breaking down. Now, we've been talking theoretically for a long time about what needs to happen to bring inflation down. And you think about just the simplest definition of inflation, it's more money chasing fewer goods. So we needed demand to relax. And what we're hearing in retail earnings is that the consumer is at least shifting their spending patterns, and that companies are trying to react to that. So this is now in practice how inflation comes down.
Liz reminds us that the current shift in consumer spending and a negative GDP may keep the market out of recession territory. But what does a recession mean for investors?
What does it mean?
When you think of a recession, you might think of flashing red figures in your portfolio. The last great recession we had came from the housing market bubble back in 2008, where the stock market lost about a whopping $8 trillion in market value between 2007 to 2008. Some businesses permanently shut down, some laid off employees in an attempt to cut costs. As a result, stock prices suffered. Although the World Economic Forum tells us that the key signals of a recession have shown up, aka the inverted yield curve and the rising interest rates on high inflation, there's a lot of speculation surrounding the market about this so-called recession. Here's Liz Young's unique take on it.
Now, just because the consumer pulls back in spending doesn't mean that we're going to contract in the economy. And the negative GDP print in the first quarter was not because of the consumer. So there's still more of a buffer there. They can reduce their spending without taking us into negative territory as long as that trade drag isn't as much of a drag in quarters going forward. I don't think we're going to see a recession in 2022, but I do think we still need to see softening in some of this economic data before we can flatten out in volatility and move forward, and I think we still have a month or two of that.
Let's take a look at the performance of the S&P 500 before, during, and after recessions, according to Forbes. Forbes is saying that on average, stocks are performing worse before the recession happens, and also saying that there's an 82% chance that the price returns are all positive in the 2 years following. You love to see it. Recession or no recession, we here at Wealth Gambit are a huge proponent of looking to the investments to decide whether or not you should make the investment decision rather than looking to the markets. Letting the market dictate your investment decision is what we like to say no bueno. And Anthony Noto seems to be on the same wave, as the man has been purchasing shares left and right regardless of all this market fear. Although fears of inflation, recessions, and rising interest rates dominate the market today, we can't predict what will happen in the market before, during, and after recession, or even if it will really go in that direction, unless you're Doctor Strange.
Case closed.
The best that we can do is look at the historical data. Even then, the possibility that something that's never happened before happens is always there, so you never really know. If you haven't already, be sure to check out our social media accounts and join our Sofi Investors private Facebook page. Link for that will be in the description and pinned comment. Shouts out to all of those who commented Sofi will 10x on our previous videos. We truly appreciate the support, and those comments help so much with the algorithm. Also, a special shout out to everyone in our Patreon community who greatly helped to make these videos possible. Shouts out to Arthur Magazu, Wei Chu, Pietro Serra, Daniel Corbett, Mr. Welfare, Casey Patel, Jeff Sherman, Gregory Villar, Bo Park, Denzel, Shonda, Reginald Davis, Les Broadway, Christian Cardelphi, Kevin Beaufrand, and Jay Bone. That wraps it up for today's video, guys. Do you think we still have a few more months to buy the Sofi/market dip? If you found any value in this video whatsoever, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe and help us hit our goal of 4,000 subscribers. Anyways, until next time, peace.